Hey guys, welcome back to Home Built, and today I am going to get this bodywork complete and hopefully get the first coat of primer on this car. Okay guys, so first thing today is to get in and finish up those last little tiny touch-ups. Then I can give it a guide coat, hit it back, make sure everything is perfect for 80 grit, and then we can hopefully get a coat of primer on the car. All right, hopefully that is the last skim I need to put on the car. Now I'm gonna go over and hit it with a black guide coat just to dust it on, and that way when I sand the car down, I sand the black off, I know I've got it all. If there's bits where I block it down and there's still patches of black left, I know they're low spots that I need to touch up. So let's hit it with a guide coat, and oh, it's getting close. So of course, now that I'm sanding it back with 80 grit, there's lots of little skims I need to put on it again just to bring it up where there's, it's taken it down that bit more, and some of the high spots were showing up, you know, the shiny metal, you can feel them. So just taking my time, I want to get it right. So I'm my own worst enemy with this. I'm just finding more little bits and pieces that I want to touch up and just get right before I do it. And I mean, it's got to be right. But in any case, my next little job is I've got to fill up the holes for the bonnet badge on the bonnet, which I've just noticed. And hopefully I can weld them up without actually warping the thing, because it's all nice and shiny and straight. And then I've got to sand that back as well, so that can get a coat of high fill primer. So, all right, some welding, something a little bit different from my sanding. All right, all repaired up, that looking good. So that means finish off this bodywork. All right, I kept going for a while last night, and I gave up, and I thought, look, I'm going to get back stuck into it today. Even though I'm not actually supposed to be working on this today, I've got to get it done. I've got to get some paint on this thing, so I'm going to keep getting stuck in today as well and get the bodywork completely finished and get some paint on this car. I've got to get something on it. It's just, I want the bodywork to be completely over with, and we're really close, so last push. All right, I've got a couple of final little skims that are just setting up. So while we're doing that, let's start getting the booth cleaned up and get it ready to start doing some painting. All right, that's the booth cleaned out, and I've sort of given the floor a quick vacuum. The issue I have found is all of the bottom of the booth has given away, and it's this cheap duct tape that I used. I got a bulk pack, and it just didn't stick anywhere. And I don't know if you can see, it's obviously like something in it that attracts the little beetles, little slaters. There are like thousands of them that have all committed suicide onto this tape. So this stuff doesn't stick properly, keeps coming off. So I've got some 3M stuff, so hopefully that's going to stick a bit better than this cheap, nasty stuff. And yeah, time to go around and re-tape the booth down so that I actually have an airtight seal, or close to it. Yes! The panels are done! The panels are all completely done. At least the faces are all done as much as I'm going to do them. They are ready for high fill. I still have to unbolt them and do some of the edges where, you know, there's some of the bolts got into the edges, and I can't sand it very well while it's together. And they're coming apart anyway to paint them all, so I'm not too concerned about that. But yes, I have done it. Finally. So let's finish taping up this booth, getting it ready to go, and we can put some paint on this car. Yeah! I was trying to work out a way to mark out where these bolts go so that I don't mess it up next time. And the easiest way I can think of is actually I've got a bit of primer here. And I'll just paint them so that when I pull the bolts out, there'll be a black around it. I know exactly where they go back in, and I'm going to dust black over it once it's all bolted together again anyway. So it's a good way to see where the bolts go. All right, let's pull these doors off. Idiot. Lucky catch. Okay, my camera's been playing up a little bit, but I've got some of the parts in here ready to go, the ones I can fit. I'll do the others at another stage. But first thing, let's clean them up and get them ready to paint. Okay, everything's prepped, and finally it's time to mix some paint. Now I'm going to paint the epoxy primer first, just a quick coat of epoxy primer, and then go straight over everything with the high fill primer. I'm going to go wet on wet, so which means basically I'm not going to let it dry, sand it, and then go again. I'm going to put the high fill primer over the epoxy primer, which should be fine. I can put the high fill primer straight onto the bare metal, that's not a problem. But in this case, I'm just going to do the epoxy first and just layer it up. I've got it here. Concept paints are good enough to have supplied the paint for me. They're actually the ones that I use the paint on my 911, so they're helping out on this build, which is awesome. So first things first, let's mix up some epoxy and hopefully get some paint on the car. While I was down picking up my paint, apparently the guys at Concept Paints were talking to the Iwata rep that was down there about my channel, and he's given me a couple of spray guns. So I'm feeling very, very lucky here, because I've never used spray guns as nice as this, because I've always used cheap, crappy ones. These are very nice. So this is actually a primer gun that he's given me. So I'm going to get this out now and have a look. All right, so this is what the HTE2. So I'll soon be able to tell you what it's like anyway. Okay, it's really loud in here with the booth going, but it's time for me to mix up the primer, the high fill primer. I'm using the Euro primer, so it's a 4-to-1 mix, high build primer. I'm giving that about 10 or 15 minutes to flash off, the epoxy to flash off, and then I'm going to go back and start hitting probably about 3 good coats of this to try and get a nice, good, solid build that I can come back and sand off later. So, alrighty, let's start mixing. That has been 2 long days. I spent a lot more time on this week than I wanted to, but I just had to get it done. And the bodywork is finished. Yes, great, finally. And we have some high fill primer on some of the bits. I can't do it all at once. I need to let this set up before I move it. So that is all I have time for this week, and it's far more than I thought I was going to do, and it took a lot longer than I thought, but it's done. The bodywork is done. Unfortunately, Mrs. Jeff is actually quite ill with food poisoning at the moment, so I'm going to have to go inside and look after her. So there will be no fun facts this week. But as always, please like and subscribe to Home Built by Jeff and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at the same place. All right, guys. See you next week.